very good afternoon to you all. I'm Varsha Savakhande, content lead at TCS Ion by the day, a poetess and storyteller by the night, and also your host for today's session. On behalf of TCS Ion, I welcome you all to this candid chat session. Creating a world of inclusion, a world where schools and other centers of learning cater to all children, which goes beyond gender, economic strata, and beyond the abled and the differently abled. Inclusive education aims to eliminate exclusion that is a consequence of negative attitudes and a lack of response to diversity in race, economic status, social class, ethnicity, language, religion, and gender. Learning takes place in many contexts, both formal and non formal, and within families and the wider community. Consequently, inclusive education is not a marginal issue, but is central to the achievement of high quality education for all learners and the development of more inclusive societies. Today's session is about witnessing this world of inclusion through the eyes of a distinguished expert who has dedicated her life to the cause, a woman of substance who has provided wings to the aspirations of the underprivileged and the differently abled. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome and introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Shyama Chona. Dr. Chona has served the society and humanity with distinction and timeless dedication. A proud recipient of over 70 awards, including the prestigious Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, 2 national awards, and 1 state award. She is the only educationist in India to be honored with the Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan award. In fact, interestingly, her name finds place in the Limca Book of World Records 2007 for getting the maximum number of awards. She started her career in 1964 as a college lecturer. From there, she dedicated over 4 decades towards fostering young minds in schools. She believes that a child is a God's gift to man and needs to be nurtured in an atmosphere of discovery, inquiry, learning, expression, and communication. Dr. Chona is one of the most accomplished educationists in the country who lives by the motto, miles to go before I sleep, and continues to make a difference to the society. She is the former principal of Delhi Public School. She has set up 3 institutions under the Tamanna Society, namely Tamanna Special Education Center, Skill Development Center for Young Adults, Nai Disha, and Autism Center, School of Hope. We welcome you, Shyama ji. Your journey has been an inspirational one for many. While I have read some part of it in one of your articles, would you like to share your story with all of us?
Well, in the first instance, I must thank you for that long introduction, which I don't deserve at all. And I'm sure when you're a grandmother at my age, which is nothing less than 79, anybody would have so many achievements. That's the advantage of living long. So the first thing is that I am thoroughly enjoying my experiences, my exposure, and the education utilization at this stage. The journey has been not so straight. The early years of life were beautiful, and I thought that being a teacher would be the most fantastic thing. Got married to an army officer who's a general now. But after my first son, life changed. My daughter was born in 1970. And then I realized that the baby in my hands is different from the boy I held. Every part of her body was like a rag doll, and nothing seemed to hold, neither the head nor the eyes, and of course the leg muscles were absolutely tipped down. So I didn't know what to do. And you know how cruel the world can be? They said to me, oh, this must be all a result of your karma. Or others would say that somebody has done some tuna or whatever. But I did not wait for all those remarks to hold any meaning for me. I rushed from doctor to doctor and flew to the United States. And Tamanna is her name. She's written a book which is called I Am Tamanna. And I think there my life began to unravel itself it was not a life of tears, but it was a life of challenges. And those challenges have not ended till date. To begin with, the journey had challenges for myself, for my daughter, but now I've continued with those challenges for the world at large. I've taken on the responsibility of bringing inclusion. There was no, Disability Act. It was really an act where it was considered to be an act. All the people with disability were called mad, and struggled hard and created. The government of India agreed, and we have now a Disability Act which gives rights of inclusion to every disabled person. So that is the challenge that I am facing. But I also realize disability is not the only challenge in life. There are so many challenges. I think women have their challenges of womanhood. Mothers have challenges of motherhood. There are challenges of caste. There are challenges of all kinds of challenges. And you and I and the audience, all my friends, I can call them grandchildren or children, we want to live in an inclusive society which respects each other, which respects religions, which respects the way we think, and we don't have to think the same. We don't have to look the same. We don't have to have the mental abilities which are the same. Yet, this creation of that entity which holds us all together proves that we belong to the same society. We belong to the schools which have girls, boys, able, disabled. We work in our workplaces are full of all kinds of minds and looks and colors. So that is the challenge I think the whole world is facing today.
Wow, I am glad to have had this opportunity to interview, ma'am. Your journey is indeed inspiring. So, moving to your next question, it is very much relevant to what your journey has been. I actually read it somewhere. You said a quote from Mahatma Gandhi inspired me to set up schools for slum children. The Anubhav Shiksha Kendra at DPS, RK Puram, and Tamanna Kindergarten. Can you share this inspiration that made you do such wonders?
You won't believe it. Each one of us has so much of potential which we don't really use, but we are all filled with that potential. And I realized early enough that the moment I do something, I want to do more. And while I used to teach and work in Delhi Public School, RK Puram, I used to see these little urchins, those from the slums, peeping to catch a ball that might come into their hands thrown out of the field. Or they wanted to come and see what is going on. It was such a big mystery for them. So then I suggested to my management, let us start a school for these kids who are dying to come in. And I called them Sadak Ke Us Paar. And we did a play. And we invited the management to see that play, Sadak Ke Us Paar, what all happens and what all happens in our boundary line. And they agreed. Can you believe I started with 2 children, and by the time I left, we had 1,500 children studying in the afternoons. The mothers were being educated. The fathers were asked to stop drinking, and they felt so great. And they started wearing shirts which said DPS. And when people asked them, where do you study? They said with pride, we study in DPS. And that's how, you see, they started feeling so good about themselves. And then we jumped up many of them into the main school, and we had sponsors who paid for their fee. And now some of them are in great places, and I feel very happy about it. But then the government turned it around and they started the 20%, 25% reservation for the EWS. That is, the economically weaker section. From everything, it has jumped into something more. Like, I feel one birth of Tamanna has made such a difference to the world. One candle lit can light hundreds and thousands of more candles. One tear can lead to so many others to prevent their tears. So we only need one person, one Mahatma Gandhi, to make all the difference in this world. We need only one Kamala Harris to make a difference to those in the United States. And that is my firm belief. And the women power is greater than all the powers in the world.
That's very aptly put, ma'am. I am actually out of words right now. It's been a commendable journey, I must say. And Sadak Ke Us Par is, I must say, a wonderful initiative it must have been. Just a quick question: do you also continue to take this initiative ahead right now? I mean, if it's still in place?
Actually, now in Tamanna itself, where we have 3 centers running in Vasant Vihar, we've started something even more interesting, which is called reverse integration. That was integration. This is reverse integration, where students from the slums are studying with the disabled. You see, when you have within 25% all kinds of people with with a difference, here I have almost 1-to-1. Can you believe a 5-year-old can hold the hand of a 10-year-old blind boy and take him around? But the wealthy, the well-to-do, the middle class will not come in. And all of the others are really our co-partners and the partners of my children. The disabled are so lonely. They have no social life. They don't know whom to talk to. They don't know how to play with, whom to play with. The parks reject them. They look at them with such strange eyes that they're made to feel that they don't belong to this earth. So this reverse integration, which I have presented to the Government of India also, is really working wonders.
That's amazing. So, Shyamaji, moving to our next question, you say every change that each individual makes creates a chain reaction that is of benefit to all. What is this world of inclusion that you are trying to create? Can you help us see this from your eyes?
The world of inclusion is a step ahead of world of integration. Now, in integration, the students are integrated, for music or dance or morning assembly or sports. But in inclusion, these kids are actually competing with the regular students. And you'll be so happy to know that the CBSE has now a specific curriculum for them. The National Institute of Open Schooling also has a special, curriculum which they can drop maths in the 10th. And the whole idea is to live in a society where you have diversity, where you have disabled, you have poor, you have those who are, unable to who are physically disabled. We need the infrastructure. We need the classrooms to be designed so that the wheelchair can move around. We need special educators for them. So my whole effort and my whole challenge is that we change the curriculum of the B.Ed colleges, where they have a whole paper on special ed. They have a whole paper on understanding the, differences between students to students. And these are the challenges which I think are keeping me so occupied. And if at 79 I can do all of that, I should say they're keeping me young.
Wow. Now, you just mentioned about challenges, and that is what our next question is about. So, what are the main challenges and opportunities for educational institutes in promoting social inclusion and combating social exclusion?
Actually, the first challenge is the challenge of, mindset. The head of the school should be, heading this movement. And I'm sure when the head of the school wants to do something, then the teachers become also equally eager. Like I was very keen, I must say, for the sake of Tamanna, to admit special children. So I had blind, I had deaf, I had autistic, I had children with the physical needs. And we had lifts, we had, all kinds of facilities and structure. So the first thing is motivation, the attitude. That motivation is lacking. It's a challenge. The second challenge is now the curriculum is changing, but the curriculum cannot be the same for both. The third thing is the attitude of the fellow students. The students, don't want these kids in their classes. They don't have respect for them because their parents may not have respect for them. All of this comes from the family. We need to have the media to show success stories. I know there are some films that have been made which have been very successful, but they have to understand that they may be different in their mind, but their hearts are the same. Their emotions are the same. They want love. They can give love. Unfortunately, the world doesn't understand that the head and the heart does not necessarily have to have the same kind of expectation. You can expect 100% from one head, but you may not expect that from another. But you can expect 100% of emotion, the heart. The heart is everything. I think if you have the heart, the head will come. As I said, you need to have emotional quotient, which should be spread across students in all schools. We are so concentrating on intelligence quotient, that is growth of the mind. But what about the growth of the heart, your emotions, like your empathy, your sympathy, your feeling for other people, and realizing that we are all one. We are one. We are actually the creation of the same entity. That entity has not changed. That superpower has not changed. And we are the children of that superpower. That is our oneness.
Wow. You also mentioned about the success stories, ma'am, just now. Can you share one such success story with us that is really inspiring about your students or a student who did really well?
I can share the story of this very famous singer who's blind now, and he's been singing for all our shows. क्या नाम?
Diwakar.
Diwakar Sharma. And I have the success story of my own daughter, Tamanna. She's right here. She's teaching in Delhi Public School Infant. And I think she is doing this, and she tells us all that, look, I'm there, Mom, not because of you. I'm there because of my own ability. And you know what is the one thing that makes her the most popular teacher in that school? Her love for the children. And those children love her very much too. Diwakar Sharma today is the T-Series champion, and
Wow.
he has been the genius of whichever program they have, T-Series. But I do feel strongly that there are hundreds, and there are some lawyers right now. There are some, I even know of one physiotherapist, one beautician. The fact still remains that they have a future, which might sometimes make us feel that future is brighter than ours.
Great.
When I compare, Tamanna with another student of mine who was a brilliant boy, and he became the governor of the Reserve Bank of India,
Wow.
Raghuram Rajan, I realize that whether it is Raghuram Rajan or it is Tamanna, there is one common thing, and that is their laughter. They can laugh heartily. And I think we can laugh together. There could be no better inclusion.
I think Tamanna Di also remembers it all. She's helping you recall all the names here.
She has better memory, and sometimes when I'm trying to remember, she says, oh, that year and this one. And I always have her in the background reminding me when I'm forgetting.
Indeed. So, ma'am, the tremendous potential of education that it can literally transform the world. How do you think teachers, parents, and communities can play a constructive role in promoting and advancing an inclusive and integrated society?
I think a lot of effort has to be made, and that effort has to be made jointly. It's not just the teachers or the principal or the parents or the students, but I think when they start young, the impressions stay. Like Tamanna now has been teaching for 20 years. So any kid who came in contact with her in the infant school of Delhi Public School, Basant Vihar, uh, has no problems in dealing or putting together people in life, in job place, especially in the United States and Europe, where they are, equally treated much better. And she gets letters now from her ex-students. Tamanna ma'am, do you remember us? We remember you, and you taught us one thing, that we are alike. And I think if it begins early, if we expose, as the government of India is trying its best to, make inclusive schools, then these kids from the very beginning will be able to understand. But the parents still have in their mind to invite these children to the parties, and because they haven't seen them. So I think they have to be seen in the parks, they have to be brought on the media, we must make more films about them, and each one of us can contribute. And if we could have some kind of a proposal where I'm not saying teach one, so the world can move faster, because 12% of the entire population of the world has some disability or the other, mental or physical. And I'm sure even if you can take a child in the wheelchair, it will make such a difference. Help somebody in the flight to sit down, be comfortable, make him or her drink water. I mean, there are so many ways of doing, which I'm doing, practicing. Actually, I take my kids to play football with the American school, with the British school, and those kids love them. In fact, in some of the colleges in America, an internship in a special school is necessary for application, and that application really gets greater points for admission.
Correct. So, the time when you started, since the time you started, have you seen any mindset shift? From that point in time to today, when you deal with parents, you talk to the society, you talk to the government. So, if you would like to tell us something about the same, your experiences.
Oh yes, I can see a mind shift. As I told you, there is a Disability Act now, and now schools have been told that you have to give free education to the disabled. Second, the entry point to the schools is not of the same age. It can be more. And the third thing is that when these kids are seen in public, they do get lesser stares, I think. And we as mothers are cursed less for producing them. And no longer are the people telling them, you go to Sai Baba who will bless you to get your kid okay. I think the parents themselves are becoming more educated. They are joining schools, they're joining special schools. The demand on Tamanna is so high that we're unable to cope with it. I do realize that there's a shift in the minds of the parents of the children. There's a shift in the mind of the society. But I really want the shift in the mind of the heads of the schools, because then I think that will be the starting point and will continue for 12 to 14 years when these kids will sit side by side, hand in hand with others.
That's so true. That's so true. So how would you like to share, and how the schools can utilize their infrastructure for the betterment of the society? For that matter, it's about the inclusive education that we talk about, right? So how can schools and institutions, the government institutions, can come forward and make the world a better place for everybody?
One good thing has happened, that a new school cannot get its certificate, the building certificate, till they have ramps or they have lifts for such children. Also, the size of the classroom has to be big to accommodate the movement of the wheelchair. They have to have more than one door so that they get in by one and get out from the second. And now even assistive helpers are allowed in the classrooms if the kids cannot, like I introduced JAWS for the blind. Like Divakar could do very well, and right now he's topping in the law faculty. And the fact remains that every school gets conscious of the fact. For example, getting into the bus, getting down the bus, they need a ramp. They also need some support in movement, where children must give them an opportunity not to be hurt or hit. And as I said, it all depends on the heads of the schools. I mean, government can make very good policies, but the policies have to be implemented by you and me. How many of us would like to go and hold the hand of another child or another self in a restaurant and eat with him or her? I hardly find that happening. We are going to open a cafe called Dream Cafe, where we are training our 4 children to be able to serve coffee to the residents of Vasant Vihar, and they're being trained by one of the leading hotels, and they will get jobs there as well. So I think job opportunity will make a world of difference, not the job of being a peon, because these kids are quite good. I mean, in computers, we've done during this pandemic a whole lot of teaching online, and they've been able to do it. So don't ever underestimate the potential of a special child.
Correct.
The best thing that we need to do is to find where is that potential, in which skill, in which facet of their life. Is it in printing? Is it in computers? Is it in block printing? I mean, I've got kids who are doing excellent sublimation, which is actually digital printing. They're making paper, they're printing on the paper, they're making envelopes of the paper. I mean, it's so exciting. Come, please, come to Tamanna. They're doing gardening, they're telling me, but these days, they're asking, I hope our plants are being watered. So I could go on, and you can see the excitement, and that's the excitement that I'm living by.
Wow. I really am loving this conversation with you. I'm sorry if I'm going a little overboard. But now here is this question, which I would like to ask you on behalf of our viewers, wherein we are celebrating Women's Week at TCS ION on this occasion. What is that one advice you would like to give to our viewers?
Advice? About what?
Anything about life, your personal experiences, or how. So what I could see from your experiences, what life happened to you, and they say that if life gives you lemons, make a lemonade out of it. So anything of that sort that you would like to share?
I'd like to tell my viewers that love is one thing that unites us all, right? Live, love,
And be strong.
and if you can live with a lot of love in you, you will get many times over for yourself. Don't give up.
And be
Wow.
strong.
I can tell you my formula of life. Would you like to hear it?
Indeed, I mean, I'm so eager to hear it now.
I am strong
Yes.
because God is with me. Okay?
Okay.
I am strong. God is with me. I love people and people love me. I'm healthy. I'm pure. And no one can take my strength away. If I'm strong, no rudeness, no bad words can hurt me. because God is with me.
Wow. I'm sure these affirmations would help each one of us here to live a more positive life, and we can certainly, maybe we can, may or may not reach to your level the way you are helping the society, but we would all obviously would want to, at least do our bit, to help everybody around us. Thank you so much, Shyamaji. That were the questions from my side. We are now opening the session to our audience. So I see that we already have quite a few questions here. Let's begin. Um, we might or might not be able to take up all the questions, but let's start. So Abhishek Kumar has sent a question. Considering the current scenario where work-life balance is increasingly becoming a challenge, what is your message to the 90s kids who have started becoming parents by now? Abhishek is from EN Delhi NCR. Yeah,
This is from a young parent.
it
Is-
seems like.
Young parent to be or young parent?
Now, I believe they are planning, either they are planning or they have just become a new parents.
Okay. So I wish them the very best. I hope they have twins and they enjoy the childhood of their children 2 times over. All I want to tell them is that parenting today is very different from how they were parented, right? So the first thing first, listen to your kids, okay? As our parents wanted us to listen to them. But if you are willing to listen to begin with the cry of the baby and respond not with a frown but with a smile and provide all the help that is required. I know that the working mothers and working fathers always feel they don't have enough time, but I think quality time is what is required. And this is the best time when you can actually watch your baby, watch the innocence, and realize that how soon they will get to be adult, because a child is a child but an adult is adulterated. So it's much better to look at that innocence, look at those eyes, and give as much love as possible and for as much time as you can, because love is one thing which you can share with the child, and the child will share that love the whole life.
Correct. I do not have any experience in this, but I believe it is about enjoying the journey, and you would be sorted. Yeah. The next question is from Veena. She has actually sent 2 questions wherein we can just club them both. What should principals of schools do to be inclusive? How should schools enable differently abled students to study with normal students? How should normal students be conditioned to work along with differently abled students? So it's basically about how do we protect the differently abled students or the underprivileged students from the abuse. Yeah.
It's a very good question, and that
Yes.
is one question which needs to be addressed also to the principals and the teachers, because if the principal encourages herself, goes into the classrooms, meets the special kid, gives that special attention, then all the kids will start understanding that here is a child in a class who should be really our favorite, and instead of running away from him or her, we should be coming closer. And then the other parents, they should hold seminars and workshops, and also look for the potential talent of this these children, and bring them out in functions, ask them to sort of welcome the guests, give them an opportunity to shake hands with them or garland them. I think it's all about what the children see. If the children see these nice gestures, they will start welcoming them. So it's all about getting the kids to enjoy the mindset of the head of the school, of the teachers, of the parents, of their children who are sitting with them, and it will happen. It is happening.
Correct. It might take some time, but I am certain that it should, turn into a reality someday. So we have another question from Mudita Bansal. She has a question. We want to use our current school building and infrastructure for inclusive purpose. What are the steps we should take?
Uh, you want me to advise how to use the building?
Correct, correct.
Just
Or
use
maybe
the building? Huh?
maybe the process, how to go about it, or what factors we should
Come
take
to
into
me.
consideration.
I mean, I will
Sure.
surely, it's too short a time to answer this big
Correct.
question. But the first thing is admit these children and have special educators, have, therapeutic intervention. You need therapists. If you don't have therapists, then connect yourself with the nearest special center where there's physiotherapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy. And the parents need counseling, and special educators are required in all the schools, which are becoming compulsory now. And I'm sure if whatever the government is advising, if the schools are willing to accept them honestly, it will happen. And it is happening in many places.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. We have one last question that we would like to take up. It's from Pushpa Devi. She asks, what made you to keep going on even if the path was even if the path was completely full of challenges? I believe you have answered a part of it, but if you would want to elaborate on that.
I really want to bring here my childhood, a strong childhood, my parenting, I mean, how I was brought up. And I think if you are brought up in a way which gives you no complexities, and you have played enough, you've studied enough, you've participated enough, certainly you will return to the society all that you received. Some parents today, when they are upbringing their children and they are doing a good job, they say, "Dekha, hum kitni mehnat karte hain tumhare liye." If the child asks, "Papa, why do you come late?" So the father answers, "Because I have to pay for your education and I want to send you abroad." I think all that is not necessary. If you really want to be a confident, happy person, then you will meet the challenges. The main thing is your confidence. If you have the confidence and you have the strength, and that strength, as I said, will be always there with you if you have grown up with God's name. And if your mother, like my mother would say, I want to cook for my children, because when I need the dough for the rotis, I am putting all the satgunas there, all the nice qualities, and you become what you eat. And I hope the parents of today will spend more quality time with their children, and also not keep telling them, "Look what we do for you." I don't think my parents ever exposed us to their challenges, and we grew up in a carefree world, and I always wanted to make my world as carefree as theirs, and it is. Challenges will come, doesn't matter. But those who are creating the challenges also will become your partners.
Correct. Now, this is a very candid session that we are, it's a very candid session that we are interacting in. I would like to ask you if, Tamanna Di would also want to say a few words on this.
Yeah, she's trying to speak. Just a minute,
Yes.
give me a.
Yes.
She is one person who wants to always speak.
We welcome you, Tamanna Di.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
Good.
So the way I asked, Shyama ma'am, what is that one advice she would want to give, to our viewers? I would also like to know the same from you.
Actually, you can tell them that I'm strong and I'm brave, and be happy, go lucky like me, and be a woman at heart, and don't give up so easily, and be strong always.
That's a wonderful message, Dee. Thanks a lot. Is there anything that you would like to share with us about your book?
Actually, ये पकड़ो ना नहीं ये phone अपना. Actually, this book I've written with the help of my co-author. Her name is Aditi Malhotra. So she's helped me to write this book, and all my challenges are here in this book. Please, you must buy it, and it's on Amazon and Flipkart, and basically it's my life journey also.
Correct. We would definitely go on Amazon and Flipkart and buy this book, Tamanna Di. Thank you for being with us today. Can you please hand it over to Shyama ji?
And you must come to Tamanna School, and we have opened a dream shop
Correct.
of my paintings.
Yeah, okay,
Wow.
I'm back here.
Thanks a lot, Shyamaji, for giving us the opportunity to interact with her. Thank you, Shyamaji, for your time and for this wonderful session. This wasn't just insightful to the educators, but was a motivation for everyone out there. We are leaving you right now. We are ending the session, and we are leaving you with a beautiful video showing a glimpse of Dr. Chona's work at Tamanna. Keep watching.
I am special.
I am very passionate.
I am special.
I am naughty.
I am happy.
I am thinking. I am strong.
I am very pretty.
And I'm looking handsome.
We are Tamanna.
Don't you ever wonder what goes on beyond our walls?
और ये देखो पीला चूहा. कैसा चूहा? पीला चूहा होता है? पीला चूहा नहीं होता है. चूहे का क्या रंग होता है? Brown. That is right.
Can't you hear those echoes trying to break our walls?
Wow. इसको देंगे 10 out of कितने नंबर दें? 10? 10? 10 दे दें? 10 out of 10. It was the birth of Tamanna herself in the year of 1970, when I held that baby in my hands, put her in my lap, and suddenly realized that she was not even able to have my milk.
Many people with a child as she had would have just sat at home, moped, cried, given up.
But she had a beautiful smile, and that smile told me, in no words, Mom, I will bring joy to your life. Give me a chance. And today she is a teacher. She teaches, she dances, she sings, she gives speeches. And since there was so much hope from her, I realized that if we set up an institution, there would be many others who give up hope even before they are born. And if Tamanna can do it, all the Tamannas of the world can do it.
What is this letter? My mother, Shyama Chona, has named this school after me. That's why it is called Tamanna School.
It's a very favorite sentence of hers that you have to give to get. And I think that is what Tamanna is all about.
Tamanna as an institution, the kind of noble cause that it's exhibiting and the kind of work it is doing, I always say hats off to those teachers who are so patient and all of them are so resilient.
We need to see is the skills that they have been gifted with. If we use those skills in the right direction, we might have probably the best musicians, the best software engineers, probably the best chefs.
Chef. Wasn't chef.
Disability and technology are best friends.
Chobi is a software. It has around 360 activities. The child is supposed to sit with a therapist and continue the activities.
Smile. No, don't do that. Smile. Come. Smile. Sit. Smile.
I do get some mothers whom I have to tell, please dress up your girls nicely. Let her have the pride of becoming confident young woman. These kids, if taken care of and given rehabilitation services, special education, therapy, vocationalization, and opening of their minds towards music, art, dance, whatever may be their talent, they can all be fulfilling individuals, and they will not be a burden either on the family or the society or the nation or the universe. True nurturing begins when nature is spoiled and you realize for every little thing you have to take thousands of steps.
Tell me your Amma's name. Mrs. Ramamani.
Ramamani.
And what is this?
Knife.
Not nice. It's knife.
Knife.
What do you do with it? I
cut the apple.
Very good. That's like a good boy.
We have to create environments which are safe and secure for them, and it is not impossible.
Barriers, boundaries, defined by who, when, why, to create what? They see it, why don't we?
I think it's a very holistic institution. It serves all parts of society. It doesn't differentiate between who can afford it and who cannot afford it.
So we thought, let us get regular children here. And which kind of children would come? Not those who move in cars, but those who stride on their feet. So we went to the nearby slums, and now we have the happiest children who have become their buddies.
जितना हमें नहीं आता उतना उन्हें आता है. जो हमें नहीं आता वो हमें सिखाते हैं, और जो हमें नहीं आता वो हमें हम लोग सिखाते हैं.
I've got kids who are now working in Coca-Cola, they're working in Nestle, they're working in Pizza Huts, and they're doing a good job. I do realize that the journey for them is very tough. All we can do as a society is to make that journey easy.
For God's sake, be friends with them. Be one. Don't shove them in one corner. You have to bring them out.
They actually tell us to celebrate life. They exemplify life. We learn a lot from them because they do not differentiate between any strata, any level.
We realize that responsibility when somebody is unhappy or somebody dies or somebody has an accident, but we don't realize that responsibility when somebody is born with a disability. So we have to hold their hand.
As for me, you are probably wondering, who am I? What am I doing here? It's quite simple. I am you. I'm that person right next to you, that person right behind you. I spent a day walking through the walls of these schools, this playground called Tamanna, full of life, full of equality, a complete reminder of the essence of our being. As I said, I am you. Then you are me. So are they not us? Why do we neglect? Why do we reject? For what aim? For what purpose? So break your walls. I broke mine. We are no different to one another. Our creed, our color, our shape, our form. Neither are these children, and neither are you.